Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and this is a daily dose of medicine walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So we move on to today's question, and it's an interesting one because it deals with empathy and healing. And it comes from Diane. And Diane's question is, I'm a massage therapist, and I was wondering if using empathy would improve the effect of the work I do. That is a great question, Diane. And it is interesting because I spent a lot of years as a massage therapist and then becoming a chiropractor. I integrate body work with each one of my adjustments because I feel that a relaxed body will adjust that much more easily. Now, hey, Luna. So, the idea of incorporating empathy into any type of healing work or body work, whether it's physical work or whether it's an energetic work, it can really be helpful, and it can also have its downsides. So, the problem with utilizing your empathy when either doing a healing work or working with someone, one of the issues is that it does create a connection that goes both ways. I remember when I first started doing body work that I would go home and I could list down every ache and pain I had on my body, and I could connect it to someone who I had worked with that day. And that's part of the problem of connecting empathically with someone who you're working with as far as in a healing capacity, because remember, your empathic nature always wants to restore wellness in somebody else. So often the system is sacrificed. And there are some people who will specifically do healing works where they draw the issue into themselves and then they process it. Now, there are many different philosophies on healing work and how that works best. And so I really, would not say, oh, well, that's not a good idea to do. And in my experience, it is often best just to allow the energy to move through that person, to do the work with them. You don't need to draw it into yourself. I don't see a need for that. I did once, and I used to practice that way, and I definitely paid a price in my well-being. This gift does not require sacrifice, even if it feels like it does. Even if you really mean well and you want to alleviate that person's pain, you can help them without putting yourself at risk. You can help them without sacrificing yourself for them. And utilizing empathy now, it can also create a closeness and almost an intimacy, an energetic intimacy. And especially for people who do body work, most massage therapists know that it's very easy for people to create a story about the relationship that they have with their body worker. And, because, the body worker, the massage therapist is someone who focuses on them, who talks to them, who, has that physical contact with them. And when you throw empathy into the mix, what happens is that person can decide that there's significantly more to the relationship because they feel that deep connection that they may not feel with other people. My recommendation is that unless there's something you need to find out, there really is no reason to incorporate empathy. Now, on the other side, being able to utilize empathy a little bit, as I told you, and we've talked before, the first question is, do I need empathy in this situation? The second is, if I need empathy, how much do I need? You can learn how to kind of move it along a slide. And if maybe you need only empathy level 1, or maybe you need empathy level 10. So you'll be able to start learning how much flow you want to create with that. Now, utilizing empathy when you're working with someone can be a tremendous advantage, especially in locating where it is that the pain or the discomfort really lies. So, yeah, I've had several cases where people will say, I'll be kind of do a quick scan, and then I'll put my finger on them and I go here. And they'll go, "Oh my God, you pointed to the exact spot." Well, and the good thing about this is that this also demonstrates how it is not specifically about emotion. You can create an empathic connection with someone, which means that you will be able to perceive where in their body the tension lies, the physical tension. And, you can be able to figure out how deep you can work. It may be that a person is telling you, I really want you to work deep. And through empathy, by connecting with the tissues, they will tell you, okay, here's where you can work deep and here's where you need to back off. And by setting up a low frequency, connection, all it is just that baseline of, okay, here, put more pressure here, less pressure there. And it can really help you to get to the heart of what it is that is physically going on with that person and be able to resolve it. So I've used empathy in chiropractic in assisting me in really pinpointing that one little linchpin spot that I need to correct in order to get the system moving again. And I utilize it at a low level in order to be able to do that. The only other time that I utilize empathy in body work or in any type of, modality, healing modality that I'm doing, is if the person is nervous about working with me. And, a lot of people are nervous seeing a chiropractor. So I bring in a connection of, I don't make them trust me if that is not their inclination. If they really honestly don't want to trust me, what I do is I allow them to have the conversation as to why they might not be comfortable. I soften. I don't try to make it safe for them to be treated. I make it safe for them to talk about why they're, not comfortable with being treated. It allows me to be able to frame my questions in order to be able to, help the person decide whether or not they want to be treated at all. And maybe they don't. Maybe they're there and they honestly, are not, maybe somebody else pushed them. And, I have a lot of new patients who come in who were referred by existing patients. And they'll say, like, well, so-and-so told me that I had to come in. And the first thing I say to them is, no, you don't. If you don't want to be treated, I don't have to treat you. We can talk about it. Let's have a conversation first. And because I take that time to interact with them and address what their concerns are, then they feel much more comfortable about making that decision. And pretty much everyone has decided that they wanted to be treated as soon as they felt that I respected them and that I understood that I was there to provide them a service. So, yes, you can use your empathy to enhance the treatment, the effectiveness of the treatment, and knowing exactly, how to be able to work with that person's tissues in a way that the tissue itself will be responsive. You see, as a chiropractor, I'm very honored that a person will trust me. and that they come into my office and they're prepared, to trust my judgment and my treatments. And I don't take that lightly. And their body has no reason to trust me, and the body has its own consciousness. And if somebody, they say, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with a treatment, I'm fine with an adjustment," and I immediately pick up, not from them, but from their bodies, their physical self, if I feel that sense of defensiveness and apprehension, the body will respond. It'll tighten up, even if the person's not aware that they're tightening up. They have no idea. They're just sitting and talking, and I can watch their posture kind of fold in as we're talking about treatments. So by allowing them to be able to feel comfortable, not with me treating them, but with the idea of talking about where they're at right in that moment, then that makes my treatment that much more productive. So you can utilize your empathy in that way and try it out, see how it works. And empathy can also be used to subtly deter that emotional attachment as well. So I hope I answered your question, and thank you for asking it. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. So that'll do it for today's question. And anybody who has any questions, please post them in the comments. You can leave a message for me through Twitter, and you can also leave questions or comments on my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. So we'll be back tomorrow with another question. And in the meantime, and as always, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and see you tomorrow.